Are you an international student or worker in the US and keep struggling with your finances? You don't have any money in your bank account by the end of each month? If you answered yes to any of these questions, keep watching till the end because in this video, I will show you exactly how you can budget your money, divide it into various categories, and set out a proper budget so that you don't overspend. We will also see how much I spent according to my budget in the month of August 2024. So, without wasting any time, let's get into it. The purpose of this video is to spread financial awareness among all the people in the US, especially if you are coming from some other countries. First, because it is very expensive living in the US. The costs here are pretty high compared to other countries because of the strength of the dollar. And second is it's very easy to spend in the US. There is a huge credit card culture here and it's very easy to spend. Even if you are a student, you get credit cards very easily, which is not the case in countries such as India. So you have to be careful where you spend your money and create a proper budget. Otherwise, it's very easy to go over budget and you don't have any money to spend by the end of the each month. And you definitely don't want to live a life like this where you are just dependent on your next paycheck to come in to pay for your bills, pay for your expenses, and so on. This is what is called the rat race, where you just wait for your next paycheck to come in, pay your bills, wait for your next paycheck to come in, pay your bills, and this keeps on happening until you go into that spiral and you don't have any savings or any money to spend on the things that you love. Don't let this happen to you and be proactive by starting to create a budget of your own where you start tracking down each of the dollar that you spend. So my personal habit is to create a note in my notes app, write the categories that I usually spend my money on, whether it's grocery, rent, utilities, traveling out, etc. And whenever I make any transaction on my credit card or any other cards, I just write down that number in my notes app because it's very handy. It's in my phone and you can put these numbers into an Excel spreadsheet. Like, it doesn't need to be a complicated one. It simply lists down all the categories, the budget that you have set out, and the actual spending in that category for that month. So this is what I personally follow and it has really helped me. Like, I have been tracking my money for almost 2 or 3 years and I have always stayed under budget, so I never overspend. And at the same time, I spend on the things that I love, whether it's traveling out, whether it's going with friends on a party or eating out, and so on. A really important thing to understand is that budgeting is not only for the people who are earning less money. It doesn't matter if you're earning $10,000 a year or $100,000 a year or even $1 million a year. There are rich people who are still overspending and living a lifestyle that doesn't represent their income. So budgeting is really for everyone to stay on top of their financial game. So don't think that you don't need to budget if you're earning huge amount of money, or you don't need to budget if you're not earning any income. Suppose you are a student, you still need to budget your money and track your expenses so that whenever you start earning, you know that how much you exactly spend and how much you can expect to save in any given month. Now that you understand the importance of budgeting in your life, let's start looking at the categories where you can divide your money in. You can customize it according to your spending, but the categories that I have listed out should be standard and applicable to almost every one of us. So the first category in my budget is rent. This will be a major component of your budget because it usually takes 30 to 50% of your total income. So you want to take out some time and make sure you get the right apartment, find the safe place to live in, and probably share it if you're not a family. If you're alone in the US, whether a student or a bachelor, you can share apartment with other people. Obviously, they should be good roommates where you can share your thoughts and be friendly with, but this will definitely help you save a lot on your rent cost. And currently I'm living in a 4B 2.5B where I'm sharing my apartment with three other people. Fortunately, I already know them from my university, so it's very easy to stay together. Some of the ways in which you can find the apartments in your locality might be looking into websites such as Zillow. This shows the available apartments and you can filter it out according to the cost and the budget that you have. The other way to find apartments is in groups such as WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, where there are a lot of people looking to lease out their apartment, sublease their apartment, and so on. So these are a great source where you can find apartments and you can try to negotiate the price with the owner. I have tried that in my previous lease and it definitely works if they are desperate to sell their or rent their apartments. Money that I spend on my rent is $1,125. So this is a fixed amount. We have a 1 year lease. So I know that I will be spending $1,125 in each and every month. The second category in my budget is utilities. The utility bills might include gas, electricity, Wi-Fi, water, etc. Typically, these utilities bills are provided by different service providers which you get each and every month, and we are sharing the entire bill among the four roommates that are staying in this apartment. So typically on an average it's around $50 to $70 for me. I have set aside a budget of $50 to be precise, and it's typically around that range. It might be plus or minus $10 here and there. The third category in my budget is groceries. This is one of the categories where I don't like to make any compromises because these are the things that keep me healthy. I don't want to eat out all the time, so it's important to have a good spending amount on groceries. The grocery list might include anything ranging from chicken, chapati, rice, vegetables, fruits, and everything that you get that you want to eat. From my experience in budgeting for the past couple of years, I know that for me $200 per month is sufficient to meet my grocery needs. If you are a family of 3 or 4 people, it might be obviously more, but I'm currently single and staying alone, so $200 is more than sufficient to meet my grocery needs. As I said, you don't want to compromise on your grocery spending, but if you want to save some money on your groceries, you can find ways such as going to supermart stores such as Walmart, Costco, etc., which offer huge retail discounts, or using credit cards such as Discover or Amex card, which provides you good cashback on your grocery spend. So that is one of the way in which you can cut down your spending on groceries. But again, remember that don't compromise on this because you want to stay healthy and stay fit. Compared to my budget of $200 that I have set out for groceries, I spent $182 in the month of August. So in some of the months I might be under budget by $20 or $30. In some of the other months I might be over budget by $20 or $30. But as I mentioned, the sole intention of budgeting is to track your money and know where you are spending. You can easily adjust your budget anytime because it's only about the numbers. Like it might be 200 for me, it might be 500 for you, but it's about knowing that you spend this much in this category, and that's the only aim with budgeting. The next category in my budget is traveling out. This is my personal favorite. I have been to more than 10 states in the US in the past 2 years, so I really understand the importance of traveling out, and I highly encourage each one of you to go to places, travel out, meet new people, and explore the different cultures, because if not now, then when? That is the question. So you don't want to keep all of your savings for your retirement, and you want to enjoy this time when you are earning a lot, you can spend on things that you love, but at the same time it's important to have that balance. So you don't want to overspend, like spending all of your income on any given category, but at the same time you want to spend on the things that you love. So for my traveling, I have set aside a budget of $300. This includes everything from travel on public transport, taking Ubers, taking flights to different places, and everything else. So for the month of August 2024, I spent $120, which is like $180 under budget. This is like a huge achievement to me, staying under budget by around $180. This is mainly because I didn't go to any other states outside New York in the month of August, but this mostly included the public transportation, the subway cost that I incur to go to my office and come back to my apartment. The next category in my budget is the category where I believe most of you all might be spending a lot of money on, and that is eating out. The cost of eating out in US is expensive, especially if you want to go to some fancy restaurants. It might be cheaper in some fast food chains such as Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Subway, etc., but you don't want to eat from fast food chains every day. So it's important to have a good budget set out, otherwise you will keep tapping that credit card and go to some new fancy places. At the same time, I encourage you all to eat out because there are a lot of cuisines. You might be thinking that I am confusing you guys a lot, sometimes telling that you should spend and sometimes telling that you shouldn't spend. But it's really about having that balance, and you should not overspend on each of the categories and at the same time not be too frugal to not spend any money. So personally, even I like to eat out, like especially trying various cuisines. Especially in New York, we have almost all the cuisines, whether it's Japanese, Indian, Mexican, etc. Personally, I have set aside a budget of $150 per month when it comes to eating out. This is consider that I'm going out for eating every weekend. So even if a meal costs around $20 per meal, that turns out to be $80 for a month. But I'm considering a higher range, $150, so that has a buffer component to it. And again, for the month of August 2024, I was under budget in this category. I only spent around $70, which includes the ramen that I tried and some other foods that I can't recall. But yeah, the total spending for my eating out was $70. So again, I was under budget by around $75 in this category. The last and final category in my budget is miscellaneous expenses. This typically includes all the expenses that can't be categorized in each of the categories that I mentioned above, whether it's groceries, traveling out, utilities, etc. So, for example, these expenses might include any medical emergencies that you might incur in an unfortunate case. It might be movie tickets that you want to go to, it might be any other concert tickets, some subscriptions for Netflix, Amazon, etc. This is mostly a kind of buffer for me because I typically don't spend the entire amount that I have set aside for this category. I have set aside a budget of $500 per month for miscellaneous expenses, and typically in most of the months I'm almost under budget in this category because it is only sometimes where you spend a lot, whether it's on cricket matches that I went to in the month of July, whether it's movies you want to watch, and so on. So compared to my budget of $500 per month for this category, I spent around $280 for the month of August 2024. So I was under budget by around $220 in miscellaneous expenses. So adding all my numbers for the month of August 2024, the budget that I have set out comes to be around $2,300, and the actual spending for this month for me was around $1,800. Honestly, this feels like a personal achievement for me because I'm able to budget my money. I'm spending on the things that I love, and still I'm able to be under budget by around $600. So yes, this is how you budget your money in very easy steps. It doesn't need to be complicated. You can simply start by taking out your phone, going to that notes app, and writing down this category so that whenever you spend some money, you just write it down in the mobile. Then whenever you go home, you can just put these numbers in the Excel sheet. Feel free to comment on if you need my Excel sheet that I use for tracking my money each month. This shows how much I have budgeted out and how much I have actually spent in each of the months. Tracking my money has personally helped me a lot to stay on top of my financial game, and it's really important that you start it as well if you are not doing it already. I know very less people who are actually budgeting their money, like most of them know it on top of their head, but if you don't write it down, it's really hard to know if you're overspending or underspending in any of the categories. So it's really important to divide it into categories. You can change it according to your needs, so you can make some tweaks in this model. Feel free to comment down if you need my Excel sheet. I would be more than happy to share it with you so that even you start being financially aware and know where you are spending your money. Please like, comment, and subscribe my channel if you find my content useful. Feel free to comment down any recommendations when it comes to budgeting. If you have some good tools that I might use, I would be more than happy and open to try it out. Thank you again for watching this video. Until next time.